you doing? This is Will from Will Development, and today we are doing part 5 of why your stones are not turning out the way they should. And in this episode, we're talking about curing, not drying. So let's say you've done everything right. You've done your math correctly. You've done good concrete working practices. You've even poured it with good practices. But you're still not getting a good quality stone, or it's not weighing quite what it should. One of the biggest reasons is because there's the misconception that concrete is drying. Concrete is not drying. Concrete cures. What curing is, it's a chemical reaction between water and cement, and it actually causes heat. If you have ever cured concrete or laid concrete in your life, whether it was a driveway or a sidewalk, you can come up to it and touch it, and it will actually be warm to the touch. And if you read a bag of concrete, I guarantee you every single bag will tell you the same thing. Cover whatever you've just worked with some plastic. Now, why would they say that? Don't you want your concrete to dry? Like I just said, no you don't. Basically, you want the concrete to stay as wet as it can for as long as possible. Now, that's not to say you should be soaking your concrete, because that's not good either. But to give it an even harder point, the Hoover Dam is still curing to this day. That's how thick the concrete is. Now just imagine that. If you've got 2 inches of concrete laid out, because you just laid out a sidewalk, that sidewalk is going to take somewhere around 2 to 4 weeks before it's totally cured. And that's just 2 inches thick. Can you imagine what the center of an Atlas stone, sometimes up to 12 inches, is going to take a really long time to cure? Now what's neat about this is you can tell when your stone is curing properly or not. You should be able to walk out to your stone after about an hour and a half after pouring and touch it, and it should feel warm to the touch. That's the chemical reaction going on, because chemical reactions give off something. Some give off light, some give off heat. This is the latter. After you've poured your concrete in your stone, I highly recommend you cover it with a bag, some sort of bag. I'm privileged enough to work somewhere where we happen to have disposable bags laying around everywhere that are also clear. So I can actually lay it right over top. And what I like to do is just smooth out the concrete just a little bit right around the top. It's going to allow the stone to cure properly because it's going to keep the concrete moist, not necessarily wet. So with all that in mind, be sure you're curing your stone properly. Always recommend covering it up. Some people even recommend saran wrapping the seams on the outside of the mold in order to make sure as much moisture stays inside as possible. I don't take this extra step, but there again, I would never knock somebody else for doing it, because if you're trying to make a better quality stone, the theory says that should help. This leads into my next topic, which I'm actually covering in the next video, because even though this one's been a pretty short one, it's still simple enough. The next topic will take a little bit of time to go over. It probably won't. Stay tuned for the next video, where I'm going to talk about mixing concrete and pouring concrete in different environments and different climates. If you don't stay tuned, then what's your excuse?